I've just spent near on 30 minutes talking to the camera about how fantastic a weekend I had at Auto Assembly 2015, and when I went to check, I hadn't pressed record on my phone. I'd pressed fucking take a picture instead of take a video. So I started talking to a phone like a fucking spare prick for 30 minutes. And I'm going to have to do it again, because I want to tell you about how much of a fantastic weekend I had at AA. It was hands down one of the best weekends I've ever had. The only weekend I can think that will top it is my wedding, which was nearly a year ago to the date of Auto Assembly. So it was a great way to end my first year of marriage. My wife wasn't there, but there was plenty of Transformers there, so that kind of makes up for it. A fantastic weekend with fantastic people. I met so many cool people, and everyone that was there was all walks of life. There was young people, old people, men, women, married couples, single people. There was Canadians, Australians, Germans, us Scottish people, the English, the Welsh, and it's the first time I've been in a room so diverse and not felt any sort of walls or barriers between us. We were just all there to appreciate Transformers, and it was, the vibe that weekend was so good that the experience was made by the people that were there. I met so many cool people, and everyone was welcoming, no one was really standoffish. There was quite a few socially awkward people, and I'm one of them as well, but that didn't seem to hinder their time. I was speaking to some people who seemed to be really a bit sort of like socially awkward, but the same as I am, but we got to know each other, and it was cool, and even the guys running it, and the guys that were there to sign and do artists, not one of them, there wasn't a divide between anyone. It was just, we were all there as the same, for the same reason, and it was just brilliant. We got there on the Friday night. We missed the pub quiz, but we seen the showing of the movie, which was fucking awesome, and it was just a room of like nearly, it's hard to tell how many folks, say 200-300, watching Transformers, the animated movie for the 80s, and quoting the lines and cheering at the great bits, and it was awesome. And I know how my wife feels when she has to listen to me watch it and quote the lines before they come on, and she gets fucked off, and I experienced that times 1,000, and it was so good, and it was just really good to be in a room where people appreciate the same thing you do to that extent, and it's something I'll never forget for a long time. Then the Saturday, we went to the opening ceremony, which was awesome, and then we went and seen all the tables and seen all the panels and did everything like that. I'm not the Transformer fan that I thought I was is not the Transformer fans that exist. I am like the Anakin Skywalker child version compared to the Jedis of the Transformer fans that were there. You guys and these guys know way more about the hobby than I ever will unless I study, which I intend to do. But I found myself doing that thing a lot of the time when you ever watched it in Friends, when Joey's like in the middle of a conversation with the group and he doesn't know what they're talking about, so he just sits and nods and smiles. I did that because a lot of these guys were way out of my league, and that didn't hinder my experience the weekend. It was still awesome. So we went to see Thew's panel, and he's I've watched a couple of his videos prior to AA, but I didn't really know who he was, and went to his panel, and he's an articulate and very funny guy, also very humble and very friendly. I sat with him kinda on the Sunday night, and he was sitting playing with his Devastator, and he was awesome, and he was funny at his panel, and he's passionate about what he does, and he was cool, so we done that. We went to see the YouTubers panel on the Sunday morning. 5 fairly sort of cool dudes as far as I could tell. Bigadeth obviously is Scottish, and therefore Transformers and has a beard, what more can you say? The YouTubers panel gave me a lot of good ideas on how to improve my videos. One was lighting. The other was they edit their videos to cut out, I think it was either Ben's Collectibles or Thew, I can't remember now, actually, that said just cut out your ahs and ums, because it shows that you're not really either focused or whatever. So I'm going to do that in this video, so it's going to make it about fucking 10 minutes shorter than it would be, because I and all the time. That was great, they were great. There was an hour and a half, their panel. It's on YouTube if you want to try and look for it, and it's worth a watch because they're funny, knowledgeable dudes who said a lot of cool things. Pardon me. Yeah, so, and apart from that, there was what we bought, and then there was the closing ceremony as well on the Sunday, which was like super emotionally charged. as a sort of, not outsider because I didn't feel like an outsider at any point, but like as a sort of newcomer to the sort of the hobby, and it being my first convention as well, I was kind of in awe of the emotion that was kind of displayed. I didn't realise people could be this passionate about Transformers to the degree it was. And it was awesome to witness. It was so awesome. The staff and the organisers did their speeches, and the artists and the guest voices, they all did their bit, and it was awesome. One of the artist talents proposed to his girlfriend, and that was awesome. I had to watch that through the viewfinder of my camera, because if I'd watched it properly I'd have been in tears. It was so cool, and it was geeky as fuck, and I loved it. But yeah, so after the closing ceremony on the Sunday, we just chilled in the bar and just hung out. Well, just mingling, hanging out with people, talking to people, and no one had an ego. No one was unapproachable. No one was like going, just fuck off, I'm trying to speak, which was great. It was awesome, and that's what made the weekend. You never felt like you were imposing, and you never felt like you were unwelcome around any table or around any experience or anywhere. It was just fantastic and such a good vibe. I've never felt such a sort of level of acceptance, if that's the right way to say it. But being in a room with loads of dudes and dudettes playing with their toys, it doesn't do them justice calling them toys, but that's what they're at the end of the day. In public, and doing it in the room and being able to walk about and it being sort of just a normal thing. I mean, if I did that in my local, they'd beat me to death with a bar stool. But being in a place like that, in a setting like that, and being able to sit with the things you love and just share them with other people was just such a wild experience that it's hard to even describe, but it was brilliant. But I picked up a lot of things. Well, a lot of things for me. I never spent the thousands of pounds that some people did because I'm skint and a scarf, but I got what I wanted. I had 3 things I wanted to get, and I got all of them, and then a couple of extras. The first thing I got was an Ultra Magnus. You're read the wrong way, look. Generation 1 Ultra Magnus. And I found him, there was some really expensive and complete ones, but I found him at a table. He's a bit dusty, still is, needs cleaned, and he's a bit rickety, but all his joints work, and he's when I say he's complete, he never had his gun, for the one for the mini cab, and he's got 2 left hands for some reason. But he was only 15 quid, and he's in decent nick for that price, and I've watched him for a long time. And I got his gun as well to complete him, and that was only a couple of quid as well. So the other thing I got was, and it's the main thing I was going for, was a Power Master Prime, and I found him again for 15 quid. He was missing a shoulder panel, like a shoulder turret, and his back flap. But my friend John that I was there with, he picked him up for me, and so he's complete now. And he looks awesome. I had this as a kid, and it was the one that I played to death. By the time I was finished playing with this, and it was put in the bin, it was hardly recognisable because it was so played with, and it's just a fantastic figure. I got one Christmas, and it's comes with a lot of great childhood memories, so I like to pick him up, and he looks awesome. But I packed him, and I wrapped him, but I didn't take his shoulder cannons out their peg holes, and when I got home they'd both snapped off, and that absolutely broke me for a couple of hours. But I glued them back on, and he still looks cool, and I can get another one. I can order more and try and get the bits that are stuck in the peg holes out, and he'll be all good. But just he's going to sit on my shelf like that just now, and he looks fucking awesome. The third guy I want to pick up was a little Swindler. Yay! And I got him. He was there's a couple of him kicking about, but a couple of quid, he's not bad. I also found in what I mistakenly assumed was a junker box, which when I said that to him, the guy was semi-offended, I think. It was a G1 Astro Train, and I've wanted one of these fellas for a long time, and he's complete. Well, he's not got his weapon, but he's in good nick, and all his joints work, and his stickers are fine, and his little heat shield works, and he's just a cool coloured, cool looking bot, and I'm so glad I picked him up for what was essentially pennies. In the same box, I got a Generation 1 Optimus Prime cab. Doesn't have his hands, but he was a fiver, and he's in decent nick for his age, and he looks cool, and he's just going to sit like that, so I don't need to transform him. So they were asking for £10 for a set of hands, which may or may be reasonable, I don't know, but I wasn't willing to pay it. And yeah, I also picked up a G1 Powerglide. Yay! He's an awesome figure. I know he's quite ugly to a lot of people, but I love him, and I got him. last but not least, on the Sunday, once I'd bought everything I really wanted, I had sort of pocket change, and I thought I'm going to go around and see what I can find before the closing ceremony, see if there's anything that looks interesting. There was loads that I'd wanted, but nothing cheap. There was a Commodore 64 cassette tape of Transformers that I looked at so much over the weekend, and I thought no one would buy it, so if it was still out at the end I'd get it. And literally on the Sunday just before the closing ceremony I went to get it and witnessed someone else purchasing it. So hope you enjoy that, whoever you are. I'm a bit gutted I didn't get it, but whatever. So what I did pick up was a titanium Cybertron Magnus. And he's not got his front cannon missile things, but he was only like a couple of quid, and he's in decent nick. He's a bit, but I'm wanting to build my Magnus collection up because I already have a fair amount of Magnuses. Not the masterpiece, because they are hard as fuck to come by and are also really fucking expensive. So yeah, for a couple of quid you'll look good on the Magnus shelf. So, I mean, I was going to do sort of ups and downs of the weekend when I was thinking about making this video while there, but I could just, the ups were the weekend start to finish and the downs were none. Maybe the prices of the Hilton, the food was a bit expensive and the drinks were fucking ridiculously expensive. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just a tight Scottish bastard. It was like 13 quid for 2 beers and 16 quid for 2 vodka. Fucking hell. Didn't stop me not getting pissed though. But yeah, so the whole weekend was awesome. Like I said, one of the best weekends of my life, and I'll not forget it for a long time. Met some cool dudes, met some cool dudettes, and hopefully I've made a few friends in the community that I can interact with. I met a lot of the YouTubers who I'm hoping to sort of get to know a little bit, or at least watch their shit and get some Transformer knowledge and experience that way. And yeah, I couldn't have fault the weekend whatsoever. It was just fan-fucking-tastic. It was the last one, and I'm glad I went. And I wish it wasn't the last one, because I'd like to go again. I know they've got the other one that's taking over, but I don't know much about that, so I'll investigate and see, and if it ever gets to the point where it comes along and I can afford it, I probably will go. So like I said, fantastic weekend. I learned a bit about making YouTube videos from some of the guys that already do it. I met some cool people and had a fantastic time, and I've now got an even more fueled passion for the hobby and for Transformers, and hope to be doing a lot of YouTube content on that because it's a fucking awesome thing to love and an awesome thing to be part of. So that's how you sum up A. It was awesome, awesome people, awesome experience, awesome times. It was awesome. It was awesome. Awesome to be part of it, awesome to experience it, and it was just fucking awesome. Ish! Wasn't that? It was just fucking hope it's recording. If it isn't, I'm not doing it again.